Thanks a lot.
Jack, before you go, would you please introduce this aspiring young actress that is back here?
This lovely little girl is Katie. Katie was born while I was shooting Knight Rider. And
this is Jack's daughter.
She's done a lot of TV, a lot of features. She just finished a movie in Turkey that she was the star of called I Love You. And when she was born on Knight Rider, we were doing an episode where we dropped rattlesnakes on David's head. And it was in a cave called Bronson Cave, and there was a hole in the cave that extended down about 10 feet. We were going to stand up on top of the hole with 10 rattlesnakes, and as he looks up, we're going to drop them on top of his head. Well, David was a little unsure about it, and I was a little unsure about it, but they said they had sewn all the rattlesnakes' mouths shut. And at that time, I got the call and said, your wife's in labor, you have to leave. And David looked at me like, you're going to leave me now? I mean, they're going to drop rattlesnakes on my head. And I went, I'm out of here, I'm sorry. My brother's here, he'll be fine. And I got the call about 45 minutes later that David was still alive and had not gotten bitten. And I was in the hospital for 26 hours waiting for Katie to arrive. But she did arrive, and she's doing well in the business, and we hope that she'll, I guess, not stay in my footsteps, but go in the acting business.
Congratulations. Michael Chaffee.
Hey everyone, what's this guy doing up here? I just draw pictures. You know, I'm on the wrong end of the camera. You're very patient. I'll make it quick. The most fun I had on Knight Rider, it's a tough call to make. Building it was a lot of fun. Drawing the thing, thinking about it, talking with Glenn, all the little upsets and solutions along the way. It was a simpler time. I wrapped up the car with a really talented crew of guys. And I called the studio and I said, it's ready. And we were ready early, which is amazing right there. And Glenn said, we'll take it over. And I took that prototype that we built, the only one in the world, and I started it up, and I drove it through town to 20th Fox Studios. Parked it outside, went in. Everyone came out of the office to look at it. For a guy who likes to draw pictures and make things, I was really in heaven. I'll never forget it. Thanks a lot.
Michael Chaffee. Annie, tell us the funnest thing you had on the set.
Actually, my most memorable was in the 2-hour episode that I did where David played people Nemesis, and I was supposed to slap him, and he was slapping back. So I slapped him for like a real slap. He slapped me, knocked me out of the frame of the camera. I fell over, and then I had to jump back into frame to continue the scene. And that's the tape that they use, so that you see it. When he hits me, I went flying out. I wasn't pretending, I was for real. He stopped. So I guess that's my most memorable moment of the show, and that was a great episode. And it was wonderful, but that was an amazing moment. Anyway, hold on.
Ann Turkle, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Wood, one time, even when you were working with Barris Customs, tell us one fun thing, Tony.
Working with Bat, it's a list, and you could write a novel.
Tell them about the Batmobile and you running out of gas.
Okay, I was doing a movie with the Batmobile, 2003 or 2004. Adam West wrote a book back in the Batcave, and the surviving cast members were going to use. So what we did is the studio came to us and said, if you want your Batmobile, we're going to use it. Now I worked out a deal with the transportation coordinator, and he said, okay, we have to transport this car to a car carrier from different sets to different sets. Well, one day we were running late, and he says to me, he goes, Tony, just drive it up to the set at the Bronson Canyon, where they did the Knight Rider. That was the original Batcave. And he said, just drive it up there. I said, all right. I mean, I didn't have any license plates on it or anything. I'm driving it through Hollywood, down to Melrose into Weymouth. They didn't put any gas in the car. I ran out of gas in the middle of rush hour, in the middle of the intersection. I was just stuck there. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get anybody to stop and help me push the car. They wanted to stop
and take pictures.
Take pictures of the car and stand in the middle of an intersection at 8 o'clock in the morning in rush hour.
Thank you, Tony Wood. Let's hear it for him. What time, Mr. Don Peak? The funnest thing about Knight Rider was each episode I would hire different musicians for the different flavors. When we did the Japanese episode, I had the Japanese musicians. Well, one day I hired this Indian sitar player to come in to play on this episode. And I arrived at the stage, and there was a man sitting in the middle of the floor on an Indian rug with a sitar burning incense in the middle of stage 10. It was amazing. That's my story.
Just real quick, probably there was a lot of fun things, as you can imagine, going on while we built this series of vehicles. But to see the people's faces when I actually drove the car out of the shop on Riverside in Lancashire. There's a very large intersection right in the middle of North Hollywood. And I drove the car out of the shop right onto the street out front and pressed a whole series of buttons, and all the wings and vents and everything started to actuate. And there's 3 lanes of traffic going each way and 4 corners right there. And to see the people stop and almost crashing into one another, because nobody even knew what the vehicle was or what it was for. But we pulled it out there, and I just started hitting the buttons, and the wings were going off, and the rockets were making noise and stuff out in the middle of Riverside. It was a lot of fun just to see the reaction on the people's faces.
And I'm the last, and of course, the funnest thing that ever happened, I love that word, funnest, it's not really a word, but I love it. The funnest thing that ever happened to me was at the end of Whitebird, which is the first episode we did with Stevie Mason and Michael Knight. There was a rap party at the end of that. Do you remember this, Tom? There was a rap party at the end of it, which a rap party is when you finish an episode and you have a big party and it's yippee, we did another one. But it was, there's a beautiful cake. Actually, I think it was my birthday, come to think of it. There's a beautiful cake, and it had a Knight Rider replica car like that little one right there on it. And they brought it out to the table, and the crew was there, and the cast. And then, you know, David said, "Oh, look at that car on the cake," and I did, and it was cuter than cute. And he said, "Open the hood," and I did, and there was an engagement ring. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Catherine Hickman, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together one time. The cast and crew of Knight Rider. They are going to come down here now. We're going to begin an autograph session. If you have an item, it's $10 per item. The proceeds will go to the Children's Miracle Network. This line will begin over here to your left. Please stand on with that line. We're going to be going down. Thank you very much.